Hi, my name is Sarah Nissen, and I'm going to speak about Heidi Roizen's career and network. Heidi has a vision for what she wants and a plan how to make it happen. In the early stages of her network, it was allowed her to get her foot in the door. It was about who she knew versus what she knew. The next stage of her network was to expand in a way to strengthen the industry's knowledge of tea maker without using mass media marketing. Her interpersonal skills and knowledge of the company made her reputable in the business sector. With each person she spoke with, she was able to share her insights, which made her reputation soar. The third stage of her career, she had to put her network to the test and help in Apple's time of need. She had to call upon favors in her network and ask them to put their name on the line and trust her that Apple would bounce back. Heidi saw that her plan worked. She had laid the groundwork with smart and interesting people who in the long run became powerful people in the industry. This helped strengthen her credibility and the power of her network since other people backing her already had good reputations. The current stage of her career as a capitalist mentor and becoming a venture capitalist was about her knowledge about the industry that she had gained over time with speaking with other people in the industry who had been part of startups that turned into mature companies. She knew what they had to go through, which made it easy for her to give feedback on proposals she received. Her network today was built over time, with each stage changing from being able to get her foot in the door to making tea maker software's name out there to using all the knowledge she had gained to connect other people with projects that were right for them. She knew people in her network so well that she could pinpoint how she could help them instead of just making some vague introductions. Finally, she focused on connections that were outside of just her network. She worked with people who were the center of their networks so that she could know many people and work with their networks, but didn't have to lay the groundwork because they were already reputable. Her network was built on her reputation and being able to excel in the tech industry, which was strengthened by each interaction. A major strength of Heidi's career was not only that it came from work. She sat on many advisory and director boards where she was able to expand her network beyond the office. Instead of just knowing people in the industry inside her company, she was able to expand and say that she knew somebody from everywhere because of the connections she made outside of work, which wouldn't have happened if she didn't sit on these boards. We've all had that experience with a person who's trying to network with us to get ahead. And according to Adam Grant in his book Give and Take, this person is called a taker. But Heidi is not like that. She's a giver, but not just any giver. Over the course of her career, she has made connections with smart and interesting people. She makes sure to make connections back by reaching out and following up the next day. She always wants to focus on following up because she finds that a lot of requests fall through because people forget to follow up. Meaningful connections don't always need to be checked in on to make sure that they last. When asked to make a connection in her network, Heidi doesn't always say yes. This is what Grant would call an other giver, someone who's strategic about how they give and make sure that they take note of who is using them and prevents them from walking all over them. To be a great other giver in her network, she finds that it's best that both parties involved in the connection find it beneficial, or she chooses not to make the introduction. Heidi is what Brian Nuzzi and Shannon Dunlap in their How to Build Your Network article would be called a broker. She connects group clusters through her work, while being on these boards, and even during her famous dinner parties. She finds joy in making connections. But connections in the short term are only good for getting your numbers up on LinkedIn. Long-term connections are cultivated and maintained, are useful in the long term for all parties to benefit. What makes Heidi's connection strong is her ability to persuade others to believe in her ideas, using her credible background, using her power from being a strong and reliable .com executive, which took many years to create. She has to sway people from software companies like Apple to give them a second chance. Calling upon her network, Heidi needed to use the principles of influence to get what she needed in Apple's time of crisis. All 6 principles of influence that Robert C. Dilley speaks about in his article, Harnessing the Power of Persuasion, can be demonstrated by Heidi, but I'm only going to speak to 3 of them over the course of her career. First, she reciprocates when it comes to networking and making benefit for all parties involved. When asked to make an introduction, she doesn't just focus on what she's going to get, but rather, is it going to be win-win for the parties involved? The second evidence is in her background. Social proof that she knew what she was talking about. And if she didn't, she could definitely find someone in her network who could speak to it. The third is consistency. Throughout her career, Heidi has been the same person that focuses on what she wants, know when it's time to move on, and being consistent when it came to networking with others. Instead of just talking the talk, Heidi made sure each interaction with people was of high value, which built strong relationships. What we can learn from Heidi's career in networking is that each interaction matters.